put manager there. The attorney who was elected, the recorder who was elected, surveyor, clerk auditor, treasurer, assessor, sheriff, and the justice court judge. So those elected officials, those that you vote for, is what we are considering a cost of living increase for. Was it 2.5%? 2.5%. Now, we have a public hearing on that. We want to wait till we get through the other part. Scott? I take public comment on that.
Yeah, it's a public hearing.
Okay, I think the council is up to speed on. Any questions from the council? Okay, seeing none, we'll open this for public comment from the public. Would you like to speak, sir? Come up if you would. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were waiting to come up.
I think he's deaf.
I just popped that up when I was reading through that, Dad.
He can't hear. He was trying to make a comment.
Do you want to make a comment?
I'm not sure. He would need an interpreter for sign language, I believe.
I caught that on your notice as I was going through the budget, the elected officials. Mike's not included in that, is he?
No, but it's listed as council here. It should have been manager. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not
Well,
elected,
it needs
but
to
I'm
be-
required by statute to go through a hearing process to have a raise. I can't give
Just saying.
myself a raise.
So we're recommending
Okay, I
Mike.
just picked that up when it said elected official and then Mike was there. I thought maybe I missed a meeting.
No, the council was there, and that was incorrect. It should have been manager.
Okay.
So, and he has to go through the process to get it. So we're doing the elected officials and the manager. We have to do that by statute.
You got your own line. And
Any further public comment on that? Okay, we'll close the comment section on that then, and then go to number 2. The adoption of the 2014 budget. Mike, or Paul, who's going to handle that? Mike?
To be noticed correctly, they're going to give it to it.
big ass budget from over there.
So they just added the manager in there, and it was not noticed. Yeah, not noticed.
Not about anywhere, is it?
But nobody said it.
Trying to get it all on there so you can read it. Still keep it all on. There you go. Okay, first we're going to talk about several budgets under this item for the council. The first will be the one I'm specifically over, which is Fund 10, which we call the General Fund. And I've listed that by department. This is Fund 10, these are the department numbers in the budget. And this shows the proposed 2014, 2013, 2012, and 2011 budgets. As you go through that, we have had some adjustments and some changes. The big changes, we're looking for an additional attorney in the attorney's office due to caseload. The engineering budget, it's a big percentage, but it's not a big dollar percentage. That's just due to the number of developments we're seeing. In the past 4 years, we haven't hardly had any developments come through the county, new developments. So it's only a $6,000 increase. Elections, we'll be holding an election next year, so that sees an increase, but once again, it's just a little over $20,000. Building inspector, we did budget in there for an additional inspector. We're not pulling the trigger on that yet, but our load right now is increased significantly in the building department. Our permit numbers are up about threefold over where we thought they would be. And we're currently contracting out for additional help, but at some point we need to hire somebody, so we're budgeting for that at this time. We have some increases in the ambulance due to the way we've structured the ambulance. We're now, to keep our paid volunteers, we had to restructure our payments, which did see an increase of costs into that. Wildland fire, that's an assessment from the state of Utah, and that's based upon the number of fires we have, and they have an average over a 5-year period. And because of last year the Whiskey Springs fire and the Jordanelle fire that upped our contribution to the state, so we see an increase in that. Emergency management, we've got, it's a $10,000 most with high percentage, but we've got another stuff for grants to cover that. That covers really the largest ones. All of the departments, this number here for all the departments where there are personnel includes the 2.5% that was just discussed for the elected officials. That was included for all employees in the county, 2.5% raise. In addition to that, this isn't actually a budget item, this last line is the increase in the balance fund, but it's a result of budgeting expenses and expenditures to leave an increase in the fund balance of $300,000. So that the public understands, we are allowed by state statute to keep a fund balance or reserve, whatever you want to call it, up to 50% of our budgeted amount. So for 2012, we could keep up to $7.5 million essentially in budget reserve. That would bump up to about $8 million potential. Right now, I think we're between 6 and 7, I recall. So we're starting to get close to our maximum. We have been able to pay off some debt and pay off some other things, such as to the solid waste to purchase the Kenworths. That was something that was done years ago because the county didn't have a fund balance at the time and we needed to use the money. Just to operate the county through a year takes in the neighborhood of $4 million of cash reserves. Because we expend money throughout the year, we mainly collect money in November, end of November, December. It makes for a difficult time come September, October if we're running low on funds and it swings through the cash balances. So, but we will have a reserve still. So I think those are the main items. This budget was posted on the website a couple weeks ago, along with the details for each of these departments. And I'll add in the sheriff's department, we did have an increase. It doesn't show it quite so much. We shuffled some things around, but we're looking at three deputies, three total there. So in personnel, we're looking at 3 deputies, attorney, and potential building inspector.
But the building inspector and the increase in engineering will be covered by the fees.
Correct. Most of this is covered by that. A small amount of it is why we're asking to hold the tax certified rate at the same as generate $200,000. But most of that is covered by fees. We don't collect fees, unfortunately, for the attorney's office and
the sheriff.
Very minimal. We collect fees, but not very many.
Other questions for Mike?
Mike, on the elections, 2012 we budgeted for $11,000 on the itemized sheet. The total expense there is only $892, so less than $1,000. And I maybe anticipated a possible election or whatever.
Well, we anticipated city changes.
So anyway, that 10,000 surplus, does that just go in to help cover the 33.5 next year?
It rolls back into the general fund total. So it becomes part of the fund balance reserve.
Okay.
But by the same token, if any of these departments run over in their budgets, it reduces the fund balance similarly. So that's how that functions. None of the departments do a carryover of unused funds in these departments.
So just to reiterate a point, Mike, is that yes, we have about $6 to $7 million fund balance, but about $4 million of that is taken up, used to help cash flow, because the revenue's coming at the end of the year. So we cash flow, you use about $4 million of that just to cash flow. So the reality is there's only about $2.5 million in not undesignated, that's a specific term,
Unsigned.
but unsigned fund balance.
That's correct.
Quite as big as we does that look?
And we'd like it bigger, and the reason for that is because we do have some debt obligation through bonds and other things, and to be in a true best situation, it would be best if we carried about a year's worth of bond payments and debt obligations, carried them over in our fund balance. Because we've raised this, because of our fiscal conservative budgets, we did have two rating companies when we went for the bond ratings AA+, which is a really high bond rating for the state of Utah at this time, one of the top 6 or 7 in the state, entities, including the school districts. So we're in a very, very solid financial state at this point.
Mr. Chair, one thing, Mike, unless you're going to do it some other place, kind of discuss what you're doing with medical insurance and the balance of that.
Okay, included in the employee costs for 2014 proposed, we did see an increase in costs of providing medical insurance of about 9%. Is that right, Dave? 9.2%. So what I proposed was that the county would cover half of that and the employee would cover half of that. So each employee will see an increase in their contribution to their health insurance, and the county will also pay an increase. So the 2.5% raise will, for most employees, will cover it a little more. For some employees, won't quite cover it. We will have a few employees that won't. That 2.5% won't cover all the increase in health insurance, but we're getting hit like everybody else. With the Affordable Care Act, there's been some adjustments in how insurance is costed out to individuals. And we're the same as everybody else, we see increases. So I think that was your question.
Others from the council? Okay, seeing none, we'll open the public hearing for the public. Come and comment or ask questions. You have detailed information if we need to get into them on each line item, so we'll open public comment.